Are you thinking about becoming a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner? Are you on the fence on making sure if it's worth it or not for you? And honestly, it is a tough decision. But in this video, I'm going to be going over 5 reasons why you should consider becoming a Psych NP. So stay tuned. Welcome back, Psych Dude family. It's good seeing each and every one of you guys today. If you are new to this channel, let me formally introduce myself. I'm the Psych Dude. I'm a board certified psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, and in this channel I go over several different subjects to educate the public about mental health, ways to improve your lifestyle, topics related to mental health, nursing, nurse practitioners, and specifically psychiatric mental health nurse practitioners like myself. And if you are interested in these topics, feel free to subscribe. Make sure you like this video and follow me on Instagram at the Psych Dude. I go over daily things, and yeah, if you just want to follow me on what I do on a day-to-day basis, feel free to follow. So you probably clicked this video because you're 1, interested in becoming a psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner, and then 2, you're figuring out if it's actually worth it for you or not. And if you are down this road, you're probably already a nurse, or you're thinking about becoming a nurse and looking at the next steps going forward. So you want to make sure this is the route that you want to take, because a lot of you guys have been asking me if it's worth it for you because of 1, you already make too much money, and you know that the difference in pay between the R and NP is different, and the scheduling. And I can totally understand where you're coming from, but at the same time, you have to look at the pros. You have to look at 5 reasons why you should actually do it. And in this video, like I said, I'm gonna give you those 5 reasons. So without further ado, let's get going. So the very first reason why being a Psych NP is worth it is because of autonomy. So the beauty of becoming a nurse practitioner compared to RN is you have more autonomy. You have more say in what goes in the treatment plan of the actual patient. You get to decide what you want to do and how you want to do it. Yes, there are other states where you're kind of restricted and not necessarily independent, but for the most part, you get to develop that plan of care, and if you have to collaborate, you can collaborate with a physician. But like I said, it's a lot different compared to being a nurse, because a lot of the things you do as nurses, yes, you do a lot of critical thinking, but for the most part, you're following orders, and you have to go by those orders unless otherwise contraindicated and that they don't necessarily understand or they didn't know of, and you catch that mistake. But for the most part, as a nurse practitioner, you get to practice autonomously, and you get to be able to make those decisions, and you don't necessarily always have to follow the directions of what the doctor is saying. And if you're an independent state, you make the calls, you make the judgment, you get to decide from the very beginning to the very end on how you want to treat this patient. And being a Psych NP, you're able to do that. So when they come in to your office, come into the hospital, come into the urgent care, from that very beginning, you make the decision on what they want to do and what you want to do in order for you to give the care that you need and give the highest quality of care that you can provide. The second reason why becoming a Psych NP is worth it is because you get weekends off for the most part. Well, it just depends on your job, but this was a huge thing for me, is being able to spend time with my family. Yes, my wife is a nurse also, so she has to work every other weekend, but knowing that you can have time to spend with your family and friends on all weekends, regardless of what's going on, that is a huge plus. I hated having to say as a nurse, oh, I worked that weekend, oh, I worked this weekend, and not being able to spend as much time with family as possible, especially when you're working opposite shifts. If you're working night shift, then it kind of sucks. You know, you can't necessarily do a lot of the things that normal people do because 1, you don't have all weekends off, and 2, you might have, if you do have that weekend off, you might be coming on, or you might be coming off the morning of that weekend and you still need to go to sleep. So that still kind of sucks. So the beauty of becoming a Psych NP is majority of the time you're gonna have weekends off. You're gonna be working that normal 8 to 5, 9 to 5 job, and you have your weekends off, meaning more time with friends, more time with family, more times with your loved ones, or more time to party. Who doesn't want to party? Well, if you're already old, then you shouldn't be partying. But on the other hand, if you're young, you're a nurse practitioner, sky's the limit. You can do anything. So it's important to think about that, because as you know, time is definitely a good thing. And if you have more time on weekends where mostly everyone is off, then you'll be able to actually spend time with them. And that was a huge perk for me. So the third reason why becoming a Psych NP is worth it is because you get to write prescriptions. I know that's not the only good thing, but think about it. If you were a nurse previously, you were always saying like, oh, I wish I could write a prescription. Oh, I wish I can do that. And you have all your friends and family asking, can you write this prescription? Can you write that prescription? And you always have to tell them no. But now you get to write that prescription. Obviously, you want to do it within your standardized procedures and you don't want to do anything illegal. But for the most part, being able to write prescriptions is cool because you get to say, yeah, I get to write prescriptions. But for the most part, yes, if it's in your plan of care and it's allotted and you're allowed to do it, then you can. But that was a huge thing for me because it gave me more of a role of learning medications, learning what other types of medications interact with each other, and I actually got to be able to write it and make that judgment call, like I said before, on what plan of care they are having for that patient and seeing how I can make that impact to the highest, give them the highest quality of care possible. And I don't know about you guys, but writing that prescription and being able to actually write a prescription was a huge thing for me. And you can go out throughout your whole life with not being able to write it, but it's just cool knowing that you can write it, right? Fourth reason why becoming a Psych NP is worth it is because you get to educate patients. So the good thing about educating patients is you get to be able to be the forefront of being able to educate patients in decreasing the amount of stigma associated with mental health. And that was a big component of why I wanted to work in psych in the first place, is to be able to break down that barrier of patients thinking that mental health isn't a real thing and being able to actually portray that. But there's only a certain amount you can do as an RN, and unfortunately, if you're working as an RN in the inpatient setting, that's pretty much where it stops. And unfortunately, when you discharge the patients, they're not necessarily all there. Yes, they're stable enough to be able to be discharged, but making that connection and making that point to educate them, it's a lot harder, especially when wanting to decrease the whole stigma associated with mental health. Yes, you're not going to make it you're not going to impact it on a huge scale, but if you can do things little by little, you'll be able to make that impact. And it's an important thing because comparing RN to an NP, NPs, you're going to be able to make that more of an impact, especially on the outpatient setting. You get to educate and be able to spend as much time and a necessary amount of time in order for you to help patients. And I believe that is a huge component of what we do, making it worth it altogether. Because if you're able to educate and be part of the role that helps decrease the stigma among all cultures, that's going to be a huge component. So definitely consider being a Psych NP. So the fifth and final reason why being a Psych NP is worth it pretty much goes along the lines with the other few that I mentioned, but you get to be able to be the forefront in providing the highest quality of care possible. Yes, and as an RN, you're going to be able to make that impactful help, but you don't necessarily see the end result. They thank you, blah, 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 but a lot of the times they thank the doctors and you don't feel as impactful even though you did a lot of the work. But as a nurse practitioner working in the outpatient setting, you get to make that impact from the very beginning. You get to be able to see the results from the very beginning to the very end. Like I mentioned in the few other ones, but you get to be able to provide the highest quality of care possible. And you're able to actually see results. You're able to see it from the very beginning to the very end, like I said in the beginning, but it's different. I don't know what it is, but as a psych nurse practitioner, I have more gratification in terms of what goes on because 1, I made that decision, and 2, I made an impact in their lives, and 3, they're thankful for what I did. And if I'm continuing to provide the highest quality of care, as a psych nurse practitioner, I can do it and I can see it and I see the whole process, if that makes sense. But as an RN, I worked in the ER, I worked in psych inpatient, I worked in psych outpatient, so I could only see little glimpses because it always went to the next person. But as a psych nurse practitioner, I can see the whole entire picture. I can make an impact from the very beginning, make an impact throughout the whole process, and that's huge. And especially if you are the one taking care of them from the very get-go throughout the whole entire thing, imagine how thankful they're going to be, and imagine how better you're going to feel when you do get that thanks and the gratification of actually taking care of the patients from the whole thing. Yeah, I think it's pretty important, and that made a huge impact on why I wanted to go into it, because you see all the thanks that the family and friends and the patient gives the doctor for making that decision making, and as a nurse you're like, well, I made an impact too, but you didn't necessarily get recognition. But now as a nurse practitioner, obviously it's not all about the recognition, but it's nice knowing that they're thanking you for what you did. And you rarely get that as a nurse, but as an NP you get thanks so often, and they love you for it, and I appreciate it. And you actually get to understand, like, okay, this role, or you get to feel like, okay, this role is where I'm meant to be, and it feels good. I'm not gonna lie, it feels good. Well guys, that's the end of my video, and I hope you guys truly enjoyed this video. I know it's kind of short, maybe, I don't know, but I'm glad you stuck it out this long, and if you did, I'm so thankful for everything you guys done for me, and thank you for continuing to support my channel. I appreciate it 100%. And yeah, if you guys have any other topic ideas, feel free to comment down below what ideas or what videos you want me to talk about. If you have any questions, definitely comment down below and I can go ahead and answer it. And yeah, I appreciate all of you guys, and I hope you guys truly enjoyed this video, and I hope it actually helped you understand why being a Psych NP was worth it for me. Yes, these are just my reasons, but hopefully you can take some of these reasons to make it yours, because we are in dire need of other psychiatric mental health nurse practitioners out there. Yes, there's going to be people saying, oh, why are you promoting it so much? Why are you doing this? We're going to be oversaturated. But at the end of the day, we want to be able to help the patients out there. We want to be able to decrease the shortage of providers in order to help all of the patients. And that's why we're here. It's not necessarily all the other things associated with it making it oversaturated, but we want to be able to help people. And that's the thing. That's the reason why we're in this field, is to be able to provide the highest quality of care possible in order for them to get better, for them to be able to receive the care that they want, things of that nature. So definitely stop complaining if you're already complaining about the oversaturation, because regardless of even if I promote it or not, there's going to be oversaturation, but we want to be able to provide the numbers in order for you guys, or in order for patients to get the care that they need. So yeah, just wanted to put that out there. But other than that, please feel free to comment any questions or video ideas. I'll definitely consider them and take them in mind, because I am trying to do more videos in December. I'm not going to do Vlogmas, but I want to do as many videos in December, especially before I get busy in January. So as always, guys, have a wonderful day. Until next time, bye.